The year 2025 looms like a shadowed horizon, a fissure in time where the visions of modern mystics, ancient oracles, and forgotten sages eerily converge. Across continents and centuries, from Nostradamus's cryptic quatrains to the trembling trances of modern clairvoyance, a chorus of dread hums beneath the static of our age. Something waits in the wings of 2025, something vast and unyielding. Scholars dissect these prophecies with clinical precision. Economic collapse, celestial anomalies, a war born from a spark in the South China Sea. But the details blur into a tapestry of dread, a pattern too sprawling to dismiss as coincidence. Yet it is the recent unearthing of a 14th-century Zen master's scroll, buried in a Kyoto temple's archives, that chills the blood. Penned in ink faded to ghostly gray, the text speaks not of fire or flood, but of a great unraveling, when the world's breath shall still, a moment when humanity confronts a mirror cracked by its own hand. The prophecy's simplicity is its terror. Where others scream of apocalypse, this master whispers of silence, a void where meaning itself curdles. Skeptics scoff, yet the timing aligns. 2025. The year the scroll's lunar calendar calculations intersect with our own. Here, East and West collide in uncanny harmony. A Bulgarian seer's vision of cities swallowed by light. A Cherokee elder's dream of stars falling like dead moths, now fused with Zen paradox. What threads these visions together? Not spectacle, but implication, a sense of reckoning, a cosmic correction. The horror lies not in the certainty of disaster, but in the ambiguity. Will it be a single cataclysm, or a slow suffocation of hope? An external threat, or the culmination of our festering divisions? The prophecies refuse clarity, leaving only a haunting lattice of possibility. And beneath it all, the Zen master's riddle lingers. What if the true darkness is not what approaches, but what we've already become? The year ticks closer. The mirror waits. Zen master Hango Shun emerges from the mists of Tang Dynasty, China like a shadowy oracle, a figure at once serene and unsettling. Retreating from the clamorous world into the silent austerity of monastic cells, he devoted himself to meditation so deep it seemed to pierce the veil of time itself. Yet in that very stillness, a storm of visions raged. In 14 cryptic poems, each a labyrinth of symbols and veiled portent, he traced the rise and fall of empires, the trembling of thrones, the slow, inevitable decay that follows every pinnacle of power. By day, he was the picture of ascetic calm, shaved head bowed, robes trailing on temple stones, breath measured like the turning of celestial gears. By night, his mind soared across centuries, witnessing the collapse of the Ming under chaotic suns and moons, the audacious reign of Kangxi, the twilight splendor and secret rot of Qianlong's rule. These were not idle dreams, but precise premonitions, later confirmed by historians who found, in his archaic verses, the uncanny echo of events centuries hence. And yet, 12 of his 14 poems have come true, each fulfilled with a precision that chills the blood. 2 remain suspended in the future's uncharted darkness. What new upheaval, what convulsion of fate lies hidden in those final lines? The knowledge that this silent monk, perched beyond time, has already mastered history's secret pulse fills the soul with awe and a creeping dread. For if he truly glimpsed what is to come, then his unspoken warnings in those remaining verses may herald a reckoning the world is not prepared to face. In the haunted hush of his legacy, we sense that the greatest revelation and the greatest danger still lie ahead. The scrolls of a forgotten mystic, brittle with age, yet crackling with uncanny precision, tell a tale written in the blood of empires. 12 of 14 verses, each a jagged shard of prophecy, have slipped from allegory into history with chilling exactitude, as if the author didn't merely predict the future, but witnessed it. Consider the third verse. The dragons, fire dims beneath a horse's hooves. A riddle decoded only centuries later, as the Ming Dynasty's collapse under the Manchu Qing. Horse lords from the northern steppes, the reigns of Kangxi and Qianlong, golden eras etched in jade and cannon smoke, unfurl in the verses not as vague omens, but with forensic specificity. 61 years for Kangxi, 60 for Qianlong, numbers that mirror imperial records to the digit. Adatution, the Opium Wars, that grotesque dance of addiction and artillery, pulse in the text, as ships of smoke shall bind the phoenix in chains. While the White Lotus Rebellion's chaos is rendered as blossoms rot in the mud, their roots clawing upward. Skeptics mutter of coincidence, forgery, luck, but how to dismiss the granularity, the timing of rebellions, the lifespan of dynasties, the very texture of collapse, all mapped centuries in advance, as though history itself were a river this seer had dammed, diverted, and released. Yet two verses remain unfulfilled, their ink darker, their language feverish. The 14th speaks of foretold, a crown of teeth, rising where no throne stands. The 13th of Tarth, earth-drinking stars. Are these mere riddles or dormant horrors? The scholar shivers, the occultist leans closer. What chills is not the mystic's accuracy, but the implication. If he saw so much, why did he stop? Did the vision break him? Or did something break? The vision? The unfulfilled verses hang like a blade, demanding we ask, were the first 12 proofs of his power, or warnings of ours? The past bends to his words. What if the future already does? Two verses remain, orphaned, ominous, suspended, like a blade over the modern world. The 13th and 14th prophecies, their ink still fever-dark as if freshly scrawled, refuse to fade into history's embrace. All others, the Ming's fall, Qing's ascension, Opium Wars' poison smoke, have bled into reality with surgical precision, stitching the mystic's words into the flesh of time. But these last two hang open, jagged and unresolved, their language coiled like a serpent in the shadows. The 13th verse is the most unnerving. When the snake sheds its skin in the year of mirrored fives, earth shall drink the stars, and heaven choke on dust. Here, at last, the prophecy abandons metaphor for cold specificity. 2025, the year of the snake, a date that pulses like a wound in the text. Scholars trace the snake's symbolism, rebirth, venom, the silent strike, but the verse defies easy allegory. What skin will be shed? Nations? Truth? The very fabric of reality? And what calamity could make stars fall to earth as drink for soil unless it speaks of cosmic debris? Or worse, a sky blotted out by ash? The 14th verse offers no comfort. A crown of teeth rises where no throne stands, gnawing at the roots of the sleepless city. Crowns imply power, but teeth suggest predation. Is this a rogue AI hive? A pandemic of madness? A revolt against the pillars of order? The vagueness is a weapon. Unlike the Qing's rise, mapped to the year, these prophecies breathe with ambiguity, as though the mystic's sight grew clouded, or something intervened to blur the endgame. Historians note a pattern. Fulfilled verses described events. The unfulfilled ones evoke states of being. Chaos without context. Endings without shape. Yet their timing is no accident. 2025 looms as a temporal rift, the year when multiple prophecies, crosshatch, Zen apocalypses, Nostradamus's great fire, and now this, a serpent's year, a crown of teeth. The mystic's track record chills. 12 hits argue against delusion, but it's the 2 misses that terrify. For if the past bowed to his vision, what future have we already fathered? The snake stirs, the teeth sharpen, and the earth, it seems, is thirsty. The 13th prophecy coils like a serpent in the ashes of recent memory. In the year of the rat, the world reels from plague. A line that once seemed cryptic now echoes with the hollow resonance of sirens. 2020, the rat's year, a time when cities froze, and breath became a currency of fear. But the verse sharpens its fangs in the next breath. The West shall again witness the rise of one from the South. Again haunts here. A nod to history's repetitions, or a warning of cycles unbroken? The South taunts interpreters, a leader, an ideology, a force as primal as a desert wind. Some whisper of failed states birthing warlords, others of viral mutations riding equatorial currents. Yet it's the final line that freezes the blood. By the year of the snake, all shall return to the center. The snake, 2025, looms as terminus. But what center? A geopolitical axis, tilting eastward? A spiritual reckoning? Or something more visceral? A collapse into chaos so total it resets civilization's compass? The prophecy's genius is its duality. It reads like both a death knell and a promise. Does return imply restoration or regression? Ancient Chinese cosmography placed the center as the heart of order, the throne of the Son of Heaven. But today's world has no emperor, no mandate of heaven, only fractured nations and flickering digital fires. Yet the verse thrums with inevitability, as if the rat's plague, the South's ascension, and the snake's silent strike are threads in a noose already tightening. The mystic's words leave one truth bare: the center cannot hold. But what will flood in when it breaks? Under the suffocating hush that now blankets our cities, the echoes of 2020's Year of the Rat still resonate, a spectral pulse vibrating through empty streets and masked faces. In deep analysis, we see the rat's cunning and adaptability, mirrored in a virus that spread with unnerving precision, reshaping human rituals and demanding new codes of survival. I remember the first time I watched a subway car drift past, a ghost train carrying memories of pre-pandemic normalcy. While scientists raced against an invisible clock, their data points flickering like distant stars. The terrifying truth is that our collective breath held suspended questions about vulnerability, trust, and the fragile architecture of society. Beneath the surface of daily reports, I felt a low hum of anticipation, as if an ancient oracle whispered the world would never be the same. Indeed, the rat's year revealed how modern resonance can amplify ancient fears, forging a crucible where hope and dread commingle in an uneasy dance. Now, As 2025's Year of the Snake coils on the horizon, we stand at the threshold of transformation, haunted by memories of masked corridors and silent gatherings. Analysis reveals the snake's symbolism of rebirth and cunning demands we question what returning to the center truly means. Can we shed our old skin of complacency without succumbing to new shadows? I sense the serpent's hiss in every muted heartbeat, urging us to confront the unknown with equal parts caution and curiosity. And so we wait, eyes fixed on the horizon, hearts attuned to the resonance of history repeating itself, wondering whether this next cycle will be our salvation or our undoing. In the coming months, researchers will map new pathways of resilience and vulnerability, dissecting how societies reconstruct their cores under pressure. I can almost hear the serpent's ancient laughter echoing through abandoned hallways of power, beckoning us to step into its coiled embrace. Beneath the half-light of a fractured world, possibilities coil like specters at the edge of our vision. In deep analysis, we discern the tremors of a geopolitical shift, a rising chorus of voices from the global south, once muted, now clamoring to unseat Western hegemony, their ambition rippling through diplomatic backrooms and echoing in the corridors of power. I recall a midnight summit in a gleaming conference center, where nervous aides whispered of new alliances as bedlam raged outside. The air crackled with the promise of change and the threat of chaos. Then there is China's resurgence, the Middle Kingdom, stirring from centuries of slumber, reclaiming its ancient mantle. In storytelling, I see silk lantern festivals flicker under Shanghai's neon sky, ancestral dragons awakening in the hum of high-speed rail, a civilization rewriting the rules of modernity with serpentine grace. Yet, the analysis darkens. Could this rebalance birth a spiritual renaissance in the West, as forgotten philosophies slither back into vogue, unsettling dogmas and igniting restless wonder? Or will it twist into nightmare, a third world war's thunderclap, China triumphant amid the smoldering ruins of old alliances, the scent of ozone and fear thick in every breath? I picture a lone journalist tracing scorch marks through abandoned embassies, her recorder capturing the hiss of satellite drones overhead, as historians later debate whether ambition or hubris lit the fuse. Through alternating lens of scholarly insight and vivid narrative, we confront the shadow play of power. Each statistic a heartbeat, each anecdote a warning. And as the serpent of destiny coils tighter around the globe, we must ask ourselves what center we truly seek, and whether, in our hunger for balance, we have invited a darkness eager to claim the world's pulse for its own. Under the flicker of candlelight in a silent study, the name Hango carries a chill, his uncanny record of prophecy carved in the annals of moments that shattered expectations. In deep analysis, we recognize that each prediction he's laid before the world landed with forensic precision, like a surgeon's scalpel slicing through the veil of chance to expose the pulsing artery of fate. I remember the hush that fell over a crowded auditorium when he spoke of pandemics and power shifts long before headlines screamed their arrival. A thrill of awe mingled with the cold dread of inevitability. Now, as 2025 coils into view like a serpent poised to strike, Hango's remaining forecasts loom heavier, their weight bending the arc of possibility toward either rebirth or ruin. Storytelling whispers of a midnight council, where anxious leaders trace his words on trembling maps, debating whether to brace for collapse or seize the promise of renewal. The analysis grows darker. This year could be the fulcrum on which history pivots, a watershed birthing uncharted orders, or unleashing crises that rend the fabric of society. I see the first light of January creeping across desolate streets, survivors clutching fragments of Hango's prophecies, their breath misting in the chill of uncertainty. Each syllable he uttered becomes a heartbeat in the world's collective chest, some pulses quick with hope, others stilled by fear. And so we stand at the threshold, haunted by the precision of his past revelations and trembling at the silhouette of what might come. In the hush before dawn, we must decide. Will we harness Hango's vision to forge a new beginning? Or will we succumb to the decisive crisis he foretells, our world unmade by the very truths we dared to heed? In the gathering dusk of an uncertain era, a silent summons coils around every heart. Awaken your awareness, for the choices we forge today will echo through the corridors of tomorrow, shaping whether prophecy becomes salvation or doom. In deep analysis, we see that each decision, no matter how small, carries the weight of potential worlds, like stones cast into a dark pool, their ripples stirring unseen currents beneath the surface of history. I recall a hushed debate in a candlelit library, scholars and citizens leaning close as if to overhear the future itself, their whispers weaving plans to steer destiny away from disaster. Yet storytelling warns that idle hands breed decay. Will we sit paralyzed as empires shift and cultures collide, or will we seize the moment, forging alliances and nurturing ideas before the serpent of change strikes? The analysis sharpens. Engagement is our only shield, a collective forging of minds prepared for the tremors of power, realignment, cultural renaissance, or the clash of world orders. I picture a circle of voices raised in midnight forums, artists, philosophers, warriors of thought, mapping scenarios on parchment, eyes alight with both fear and fierce resolve. Each strategy session becomes a heartbeat in the vast organism of humanity, pulsing with the urgency of what may come. And so the call to action unfurls its wings. Recognize the gravity of now, and engage with courage and imagination. For in this haunted interlude between what was foretold and what will be, our unity and foresight stand as the final bulwark against chaos. Should we fail to answer, the echoes of Hango's prophecies may yet become our requiem. But if we rise together, we may rewrite the ending, forging from these ominous portents a dawn of our own design.